After completing a serious challenge and beating Plants vs Zombies 2 for the first time in 8 years, well, I've got to say something about all the worlds. Everything has changed for that period, except for the number of time adventures in PvZ2. There are still 11 worlds, 11 different stories and 11 unique playthroughs. The tier list is ranked based on my feelings while beating the game, so that it can differ from yours. I'll rate each world in the order they appear in the game to maintain your interest throughout the entire video. Enjoy! The Ancient Egypt. I played that world for the first time almost 11 years ago, at the time when PvZ2 was released on Android platform. You can't imagine my happiness while I was beating the first levels of Ancient Egypt before going to school. Back in 2013, Ancient Egypt looked way better, as we had only 3 worlds: Ancient Egypt, Pirate Seas and Wild West. With not so many worlds, you've got not a lot to compare with, but in today's realities, the situation is different. It's hard to compare Ancient Egypt with Neon Mixtape Tour or Big Wave Beach. The meaning of Ancient Egypt is to introduce a new player to the game, to make sure that he enjoys beating his first time adventure, he understands the game and its mechanics, and last but not least, how you should build up the lone in different situations, combining different plans. The design of the world is on a high level, and it's perfectly combined with great compositions that became a strong association with the game itself. The local music provides a calm feeling which is combined with the discovery of something for the first time in your life. In all games, the music sets the rhythm and atmosphere. You can perfectly see that in Minecraft, where music plays a key role in creating and maintaining an amazing atmosphere around the game. The main problem of Ancient Egypt is the lack of interest in zombies. I understand that this problem sets around the hardness of the world, but Ancient Egypt could still introduce some more unique zombies. In cut files of the game, the players found a mention of Cleopatra zombie. She was completely worked out and ready to be put in the game, but in the last moments she was scrapped out. What a great concept that was never released in the game. I believe that there were even more good concepts that were never developed and just left as the concept on the paper. However, the world is still cool and I really enjoy beating it every single time I enter the adventure mode. As for me, Ancient Egypt strongly deserves to be on the B tier list. The next up is the Pirate Seas. That was my favorite world 11 years ago. I was a big fan of the local design, atmosphere and the water cells. I couldn't even imagine that some cells could be blocked for zombies, so they could only get to my lawn by swinging a rope, flying or by catapulting from the cannon. Back then it impressed me a lot. But in 2024 I feel the Pirate Seas as the protracted training, as we had enough of the beginning experience in Ancient Egypt. Unlike it, I feel that Pirate Seas has fully opened its potential by introducing so many different and unique zombies: Swashbuckler zombie, Barrel Roller zombie, Imp Cannon, and my favorite one, Pirate Captain Zombie with his badass zombie parrot, who steals plants from the lawn. I still want to understand where he takes them. The local music has a vibe of continuous adventure which is only gaining momentum. Yet, one thing still annoys me in that world: the Canonaways minigame, which I hate since the release of the game. But earlier it was much worse than it is right now, so thanks to PopCap who has almost scrapped it from the game. However, even the Pirate Seas can't be compared with worlds like Far Future, Wild West or Big Wave Beach. The local zombies are cool, but they aren't so interesting as in the next time adventures. Summarizing everything that I said, Pirate Seas deserves a strong B tier list. I can't even say that it's a B plus tier list. The Wild West. Oh boy, the year 1850, the final world out of the 3 original ones. The Wild West finally feels like a challenge. It feels like a world where you should put some effort to beat all the levels. It also introduces us to lots of good plants that will be useful for the rest of the game. For example, melon pult, winter melon and tall nut. However, the other plants aren't so bad and can be also used while beating the other worlds. Pea pod, lightning reed and split pea are good choices in some cases. One thing about the Wild West that cannot be mentioned is the design of the world and its detailization. While playing all the levels, you've got that amazing Texan vibe of the 19th century. While playing it, you really have the feeling that this world is the important part of your time adventure, because Plants vs Zombies 2 is about time. The Wild West teaches you to react fast and always count the appearance of all the zombies on the level. For example, if you don't take the split pea, you will stuck with lots of problems caused by the prospector zombie. If you don't take spike weeds or the lightning reed, there is a high chance that chickens will eat your brains. One of the main features of the world is minecarts. Personally, I'm not a big fan of them. I didn't even use them while beating Minecraft, so why do I have to use them here? That's a joke, but it has a point. Minecarts change the way you play the game and change the way you build your defense, but simultaneously you can just ignore them for the rest of the Wild West and it won't affect your gameplay at all. Yet, the world lacks of super interesting levels which you struggle to beat and for which you can't just use your typical strategy. You need to create something non-typical that would impress everyone, even the zombies on the lone. For me, the Wild West is a strong A tier list, still one of the best worlds in the entire game. The Frostbite Caves, a world with a good idea that turned into one of the worst worlds in the game. First things first, the design of the world. Why the hell is it so bright? I asked myself that question every single time I played that world. For example, in Chinese Frostbite Caves Resurgence, that problem was fixed, and here the map looked at least a bit better than the original one. The sound design of the Frostbite Caves is one of the weakest parts of the world. It's just horrible. The same empty melody appears on every single wave. Not even a single track here sounds memorable. One of the local features is a cold wind, which is easily countered by using a hot potato or placing fire pea or pepper pult. This gimmick didn't impress me at all, as well as the local plants. No, seriously, did anyone use the local plants in the other worlds? At least a few times? Well, the chart guard is the only plant who can claim to be useful, and at some point in the game I used him. But how about the pepper pult or rotabaga? Or maybe you liked Stanian? I don't think so. Of all the local zombies, only 2 have annoyed me, the Dodo Rider zombie and Hunter zombie. Those guys are cool and they can cause you some trouble, but the others, well, either they are typical zombies from the rest of the worlds or a copy of other zombies like Whistle Zombie, which was created based on Chicken Wrangler zombie from Wild West. That world had lots of potential to be detailed and introduce some unique zombies and features that would be hard to counter, but PopCap decided to create a world that fits with a typical vision of an Ice Age time. With that being said, I fairly put Frostbite Caves on the C tier list. The Lost City. As a big fan of Central America and the Native American civilization, I totally approve of that world. I like the time adventure for being hard in the right way. Let me explain. So I don't believe that the difficulty is about a huge zombie spamming or cutting the options to use some specific plants. Not at all. The real hardness lies in combining different zombies with their unique features to make players count all the objectives of the level, so there won't be any same plant spamming from the player's side. The Lost City is about that hardness. Combining Parasol and Excavator zombies was one of the best decisions of the PopCap developers. Other zombies are made less detailed but deserve to be on the list as well. The design of the world is magnificent. It perfectly illustrates the beginning of the 20th century in Central America and the discovery of the lost civilization among the jungles. I can't say much about the local plants as I didn't use them much during future battles, as they aren't so strong to defeat the zombies from the next time adventures. Back then, Endurian had such a great concept of being the defensive plant that could also damage the zombies, but now its place is taken by a way better plant which is called Torchwood. If PopCap gave the Endurian more health and boosted his damage to zombies, or even gave him the ability to stop the zombies because of his smell, that dude would be way more useful than it is right now. The Lost City truly feels like the middle milestone of our time adventure, and it fully reveals itself in this role. Fair enough to go to the A tier list. The year is 2323, and here is the most controversial world in PvZ2, a world that is supposed to be a sequel of the previous 3 ones, which is made in the same style and same hardness, turned out to be one of the most fulfilled worlds, but simultaneously a time adventure that lost its charm due to the map update and some cut content from it in 2014. Soon I'll make a video on my channel about the far future, so wait for that banger. As I said earlier, that is one of the most detailed worlds in PvZ2, as the developers had lots of time to sharpen it. The far future contains a ton of content, a ton of different zombies and useful plants. That was supposed to be the first world that introduced us to a gargantuar, so the other zombies here are tougher as well. Mecha Football Zombie, Shield Zombie and Discotron 3000 are good examples of local zombies which combine some mechanics from PvZ1 and add some new mechanics as well. The local Gargantuar is my favorite one because of his unique ability to burn plants on any row and any place on the lawn. The local music creates a good futuristic atmosphere that dips you into the vibe of machines, technology and flying zombies. If all the other worlds were made with the same effort as the far future, we would see a way better game than we have now. I'm really sad that after creating such an amazing extension of the game, later we stuck with worlds such as Frostbite Caves. They are on different levels, and so do the local plants. Far Future introduced us to some of the most iconic plants such as Tall Turnip, Blower, Laser Bean and of course the Infininut. Those great plants are still used by many players, which shows us how all the plants should be created. But because of the cut content and changing the way the game developed since 2014 and having even greater worlds ahead, I can confidently put that world to A+ tier list. The next up is the Dark Ages. I can describe that world with only one phrase: the lost potential. PopCap began to develop that world right after launching Plants vs Zombies 2 in July 2013, as the players found files in the game that tell us about the unfinished work of the Dark Ages right from the very first versions of the game. But if Far Future was made pretty well, I can't tell the same about the Dark Ages. That time adventure looks like nobody cared about it, and they made it just to be in the game and to play on the original game players' nostalgia of the night levels. Just 20 levels without deep detailization and copying all the plans from PvZ1 night levels. Oh yeah, many years later they added a useless Skirdish room, which for some reason was scrapped out from the original Dark Ages where it was supposed to appear. The world just feels unfinished. The problem isn't in the amount of levels, but the lack of content feels pretty much. PopCap just knew that it would work and players would like to feel that vibe of Plants vs Zombies 1. The only good zombie that appears in that world is the Wizard Zombie, who turns your plants into ships. That's a cool idea. The music as well as the design of the world aren't so bad. It's nothing much but just a filler world. Strong C tier list. Now, here's the serious player, the Neon Mixtape Tour. That is a true masterpiece. In my opinion, that is the best world in Plants vs Zombies 2. And here is why. The Neon Mixtape Tour is about strategy. It's about the adaptation to different kinds of zombies. At one point you will stack with all the zombies from that world, and I can't even say which strategy would perfectly work here. All the local zombies are unique, starting from a punk zombie and up to boombox zombie. The uniqueness of that world lies in its zombies. Let's be honest, in all other worlds you won't even look at most of the local zombies. In Frostbite Caves, in ancient Egypt or pirate seas, you ignore them. They can't cause you any trouble, especially the zombies from the early stages of all the worlds. But not in the case of the Neon Mixtape Tour. Here you can't ignore anyone. Even punk zombie can easily destroy all the plants on your lawn if you don't pay attention to what's happening here and which melody is playing right now. Melodies, oh yeah. That's another reason why I strongly believe in the supremacy of the Neon Mixtape Tour. The local music isn't only the most memorable one, but it also provides a unique atmosphere throughout your time adventure. Music that is changing more than a few times during the level, and not only because of reaching any of the waves, but because it's time to change the melody, boys. This world explains how important music is in creating not only a needed atmosphere, but also providing something bigger. It's about changing your view of the game. It creates the iconic vibe of the game, and Minecraft is one of the best examples of that feeling. All the melodies that you hear in the Neon Mixtape Tour were created for only one world. But what a world! Let's talk about the local plants. They aren't the strongest part of it, however, the world introduced us to one of the coolest plants in the game, which even deserves to be a premium plant. Yes, I'm talking about a time warp. You've got any problems with the zombies in your lawn? That's not a problem. Let's teleport them right to the beginning of it. Isn't all of that so easy? Yet, the other part of the local plants is intensive carrot and garlic. They aren't so bad, but they are actually useless. Spore shroom isn't so bad and has a cool mechanic of spreading itself on the lawn. I like it. Fat beet could be a cool plant only if it was boosted in intensity and range of the damage, but without that, that plant isn't so cool. My favorite part about the Neon Mixtape Tour is the pixel zombies. Those guys look really fashionable and provide a good old Minecraft vibe to the game. I honestly like their design so much that I even put that pixel zombies on the thumbnail of that video. Anyway, a few more words about the zombies. They all just complement each other perfectly. I guess that I need to make a separate video about it with all the details. Let me know in the comments if you wanna see it. The local gargantuar is good enough because of his random sound heat wave, which can destroy some plants and lawn, so make sure you plant a walnut right before them. Glitter zombie, punk zombie, boombox zombie, arcade zombie, etc. I love all of them. I love every single piece of the Neon Mixtape Tour, and it really feels like a well-created time adventure, because you feel all the atmosphere. The Neon Mixtape Tour is a great example of how all the worlds in Plants vs Zombies 2 should look like in a perfect universe. And that world confirms the main slogan of the game. The Plants vs Zombies 2 is about time. That is a strong C+ tier list, and that is the best world in all Plants vs Zombies 2. However, our next world isn't so good, and if I had only one word to describe it, that would be meh. A world without unique zombies, only stupid dinosaurs. I can't say that this mechanic is bad. Well, it's disgusting. An undefeatable unit that not only annoys you while beating the level, but also helps the enormous zombie spamming, which is normal in that location. Adding dinosaurs like a full-scale unit combined with zombies is definitely a good idea. That would not only make the world harder in the necessary way, but along with that make it enjoyable. Another problem of the time adventure is stereotypes. That world is full of them, starting from the design of the world and ending up with dinosaurs. Honestly, while beating it, I always had that feeling that I was playing in the world of Flintstones. It isn't a bad cartoon, alone. Not at all. But PvZ's interpretation of the Jurassic world is awful. Sometimes while beating the levels I didn't hear any music, but playing without music is still better than listening to it. It sounds so horrible that there is no interesting sounds and melodies. I didn't even feel that it was a time travel to the Mesozoic era. Of all the worlds in PvZ2, the Jurassic March has the worst musical accompaniment in the game. The only good thing about that world is the local plants, but even they aren't so creative. Except for the perfume shroom that turns dinosaurs on your side, all other plants are just better copies of the original plants like pea shooter, walnut and sunflower. That is so creative, PopCap. The only place that the world deserves is the C tier list. The next world is one of the most controversial in the Plants vs Zombies 2 community, yet for me, everything is clear. We are talking about the second best world in PvZ2, the Big Wave Beach. My love for that time adventure isn't unconditional. The Big Wave Beach deserved such a great mark, and here's why. First of all, the Big Wave Beach is about hardness, and needed hardness. The world tries to teach you not only to act fast, but also to always think about the picked plans for every single level, because sometimes it can lead you to failure. Replaying some levels numerous times, trying to find the working strategy and finally beating the hardest level is one of the best PvZ2 experiences you can get. You always have to keep in mind that some zombies have to be destroyed right after entering the lone, so they don't cause you any trouble. We can include Oak and fisherman zombies in that category. Surfer and snorkel zombies also deserve your attention, and you always have to keep in mind that they have to be destroyed as soon as possible. The strong side of the Big Wave Beach is the local plants. Banana Launcher, Guacodile and Bowling Bulb are tough guys that can deal with all the zombies, and not only in the Big Wave Beach. All of them have their own unique mechanics which makes them special and memorable. There are not a lot of plants in that world, but Big Wave Beach itself is about quality over quantity. Quantity is about other worlds like Frostbite Caves and the Jurassic March, so this list doesn't contain a world called Big Wave Beach. Another strong side is music, which dips you in the summer vibe of the 1960s. You've got that summer vibe and a well-designed low which contains lots of details. Let's be honest, summer tropical beaches always look magnificent. Hardness, combined with high-quality plants and zombies along with such an amazing atmosphere, can't let me not to put that world on the C tier list right after the Neon Mixtape tour. That is the second best world in the entire game. We did it, guys! Finally, the modern day, or how to destroy a good idea of the final world in the game. The only word which can describe the modern day is emptiness. The original idea of the final world was called the Time Twister. Its icon is now used in Penny's Pursuit. The Time Twister which you see now in Plants vs Zombies 2 is a different thing, but I guess the design remains the same from the concept idea of the world. The modern day is based on the original lone, and the main idea of it is simple. We began our journey from the modern day and we finally got back into it to eat the damn taco. That is really sad that we just came back to the normal lone and that's all. No unique design features, no unique textures, nothing. Just a usual lone from Plants vs Zombies 1. Here, PopCap tried to play in nostalgia because they added lots of zombies from the first part of the game and buffed them. Well, at least they became really strong and got new mechanics like the football zombie, which now destroys the first plant he reaches after entering the lone. The strong sides of the modern day are the music and plants. Let's begin with the second one, the shadow plants. The first time when I played with them was in 2016. I didn't like them at all, but 8 years later I found them really cool. Finally, It isn't a copy of the plants from Plants vs Zombies 1 or useless plants like garlic or fat beet. They are unique plants with which you can play in all other worlds and which make your gameplay far more interesting. I put a huge like for them. That was definitely a good idea to create a new type of plants. What about the music? It's just excellent. The best melody combos from all the worlds, and along with that they added one of my favorite compositions in the game, modern day The Final Wave melody. This is a work of art. Yet a few things turned that world into the worst realization of such a good idea. The modern day had to be the best world in Plants vs Zombies 2, adding all the best in that game, and simultaneously deleting things that don't work. However, none of that was done. The main problem of it is zombies. A meaningless mix of different zombies combined with portals from different time adventures. That is too predictable. In other words, anyone could repeat that feature. It looks very weak for the end of the game. However, the minigame 3 in a row in Plants vs Zombies 2 style is made good enough, and the good thing about it is plant evolution, which is a good motivation to get as much sun as you can. For introducing new, unique plants combined with good musical accompaniment, I put the modern day on the B tier list. With all that being said, Plants vs Zombies 2 is a good game. Sometimes it doesn't fit with my or your expectations, yet we still play and love it. For someone like me, that is one of the favorite games of childhood that you love coming back to. Right now, for me, it's more than just a game. Thanks to all of you, it became my job. My favorite job. My goal is to entertain you and tell you even more about that magnificent game. I like Plants vs Zombies 2 itself, with its pluses and minuses, with the best and the worst worlds. Every piece of it makes Plants vs Zombies 2 the game we know and like. Of course, I wish the game developed in the other way, yet would I like it as much as I do it right now? That's an open question.